Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are plunging headfirst into, well, a really ambitious set of texts. We're looking at the collected works of Shuofeng and the philosophy of Lifechanyuan.
And this stack of sources, it's unlike anything we've really tackled before.
Yeah, it's not just philosophy, is it? It's trying to be an entire integrated worldview.
Yeah.
Everything from cosmic physics to morality.
It is. It's a complete synthesis. Think of it like an operating system for living a deeply harmonious life.
So our mission today is, frankly, a bit of a challenge.
It is. We have to navigate all this density and really extract the core framework. We're synthesizing their prescriptions for, personal conduct, societal balance.
And somehow cosmic alignment, all at once.
All at once.
And the central concept, the absolute foundation that supposedly connects all of this.
Yeah.
It's frequency and resonance.
That's the key. Simple physics, but applied to everything.
Okay, let's unpack this.
The sources are really clear on this. They say every single instance of motion involves vibration. And where there's vibration, there is frequency, there's a rhythm, a regularity. And this isn't some human idea, it's a universal law.
And when you say it governs everything, you mean everything.
Absolutely. The colossal cycles, like Halley's Comet.
Right, that's every 76 years.
And the Earth's orbit, 365 days. But then it scales all the way down.
Down to what, like the tides?
The tides, your own heartbeat, 60 times a minute, roughly. These are all just expressions of specific, predictable frequencies.
Okay, so the insight isn't just that things vibrate. What's the next step?
The insight is what happens when those vibrations interact. Things with the same frequency resonate.
Meaning they amplify each other.
They mutually enhance, develop, and grow stronger. They create harmony.
Okay, so what about different frequencies?
Oh, that's where you get suppression. They cancel each other out, or they can even actively destroy one another.
That makes perfect sense with sound waves. But the sources apply this to, what, your daily life?
To your daily discomforts, yeah. They suggest things like jet lag or altitude sickness are really just physical frequency mismatches.
Huh. So my biological rhythm is just out of sync with my new environment.
Exactly. And this idea extends directly into a philosophy of survival.
Which is?
Adaptability. The key is adaptability. Look at the material world mountains, rocks. They're ridges.
So they can be broken?
Fractured, destroyed, eroded. Easily. But what about water or air? They're soft. It's incredibly difficult to break water because it's always adjusting its frequency.
So the softer something is, the easier it can adjust and resonate.
Life forms that become rigid, that stick to their old rhythms no matter what. They're heading for collapse.
And the sources point to the dinosaurs as a prime example of that.
They do. And this carries right over into human interaction, into what the source calls biological frequency.
Biological frequency, what does that mean?
It's this unconscious driver of why we cluster together. Why do students from the same province bond immediately in a big city? Or travelers from the same country seek each other out?
You're saying it's because their biological frequencies just match up.
That's the theory. You like someone because you resonate. You feel uneasy around others because your frequencies clash.
That adds a whole new layer to social dynamics. So to thrive, you literally have to tune your internal rhythm.
Yes. The focus is on tuning your mind, your thinking frequency, just like a conductor tunes an orchestra.
Okay, but there's a distinction here, right? Between softness and fragility.
A crucial one. The source says modern people are often fragile. They can't withstand shock, they just break.
Fragility dies under pressure.
But softness is the adaptive capability, its strength through flexibility, the ability to adjust your frequency without breaking.
Okay, so if tuning achieves harmony on a personal scale, how does the universe do it on a macro scale?
This is where it gets into a system of cosmic checks and balances. They call it the principle of mutual generation and restraint.
And this comes from the ancient Chinese 5 elements theory.
It does. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. The universe maintains its harmony through 2 cycles that work together.
Let's define those cycles for everyone listening.
Okay, so first you have the generation cycle. Wood generates fire, fire generates earth, earth generates metal, and so on.
That's the creative force, the nurturing side.
Exactly. But then you have the restraint cycle. Metal restrains wood, wood restrains earth. This is the corrective force.
And the implication for us is huge.
Massive. The sources argue that it's only through both generation and restraint that things can develop and last. Extreme, unrestrained development. that leads to self-destruction.
Fate ultimately lies in balance.
You see it in complex systems everywhere. The three branches of the U.S. government, for example, the source points to that as a reason for its vigorous development.
But this hits on a personal level, too.
It really does.
Wait, so are you telling me that the constraints in my life that I resent,
Mm-hmm.
my difficult boss or the limitations my parents set, that these are actually essential restraining factors?
According to this philosophy, yes. They are keeping you sane, preventing you from going to an extreme that would ultimately lead to your own demise. They provide necessary friction.
So struggle is just an opportunity for cultivation.
That's the idea. Go with the flow, but never go to extremes. You shouldn't seek intensity, but balance and inner peace.
But hold on, isn't that just spiritualizing a toxic situation? Are you supposed to just accept a bad job forever?
Not at all. It's about recognizing the function of restraint. The moment a restraint stops serving that function and just stifles all growth, it becomes a shackle. I'll get to shackles in a minute, but the core idea is that a life with no friction, where you're never challenged, is a life that's destined to collapse.
That completely reframes the idea of struggle.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the universe runs on this balance, then our own lives need some kind of intentional structure.
They do, which brings us to a really core concept. The need for a frame of reference and a coordinate system.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
Life, according to these texts, just can't be meaningful without this structure. The choices you make here define everything.
So the frame of reference, that's your foundation of belief, your guide.
Exactly. What are some examples? The sources list things like the Bible or the Quran.
Okay, religious texts.
Or it could be pure science. Or the pursuit of wealth and fame. Or a political ideology.
And the idea is that people with the same frame naturally group together.
Right, and those with different frames, they just can't understand each other.
And then what's the coordinate system? How's that different?
The coordinate system defines the level of life you're striving for. It's about your spiritual evolution.
So it's a progression.
A clear progression.
Yeah.
The coordinates range from, say, bacteria, the ignorant, the worldly, all the way up to sages, celestial beings, or Buddhas.
So the frame is what you believe, and the coordinate system is who you're trying to become.
You got it. And the choice of frame really influences your coordinate system. The quality of your life, capital L-I-F-E, your spiritual essence, depends on it.
But this structure, once you choose it, it's not meant to be static, is it?
Not at all. It has to be constantly rebuilt, which leads directly into this philosophy of destruction and creation.
It's a butterfly analogy.
The silkworm transforming into a butterfly, it's a powerful one. The eggshell, the old skin, the cocoon. At first, they're vital. They protect you.
But if you stay in the cocoon,
You die there. The protective shell becomes a restraint. It becomes a shackle.
and this applies to human life, so things like our family, our nation, our political party, they start as protection, but can end up as shackles.
If you cling to them too rigidly, yes, they prevent that final spiritual transformation. You stay curled up inside, you never learn to soar.
So the message is continuous dying and being reborn.
That is the meaning of life, according to them. It requires you to actively destroy fixed ways of thinking, old traditions, what they call decayed morals.
Is this a literal destruction, though? Should you sever ties with your family?
It's primarily a mental and spiritual destruction. You destroy the fixed thinking that puts those shells above your own growth.
And that destruction clears the way for creation.
For new lifestyles, new worldviews, a new morality. To cling to the past is the worldview of the passive and lazy.
That sounds like an incredibly diligent life.
Yeah.
And that kind of transformation must require immense energy.
It does, which brings us to maybe the most counterintuitive principle in these entire texts.
Which is?
The secret to acquiring infinite energy is total release.
Okay, that goes against everything we're taught.
It's a total divergence. They define it using two separate laws, the material law and the non-material law.
Material law is simple. You give something away, you have less of it.
The more you release money, time, stamina, the more your energy decreases. Simple.
Well, that's the non-material law.
It's the exact reverse. The more you release non-material things, wisdom, labor, even capital circulation, the more that energy increases.
So a businessman makes money not by hoarding it, but by circulating it.
By releasing and reinvesting it, exactly. But think about a singer. Their artistic talent doesn't get used up when they perform.
It gets stronger.
It gets stronger. And they receive more honor and power. If they stop, their talent diminishes.
So the more wisdom a wise person gives away.
The faster their own wisdom grows. It's exponential.
Wow. That completely flips standard productivity advice.
Mm.
If I release my time to help others, my own time becomes more effective.
That's the idea. Then they link this directly to a spiritual mandate. They reference Jesus' words, "For whoever has, more will be given to them."
And whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them.
And their interpretation is just that. The more you give or release, the greater your reward. The less you give, you lose even the capacity you thought you had.
It's a generosity engine.
And the ultimate conclusion is that the greatest creator is an inexhaustible ocean of this non-material energy. And when you connect your soul to that, you tap into it, giving is the ticket.
That transcendence is the ultimate quest. And the sources structure it into 3 pursuits.
Right.
A sequence.
A clear sequential journey. It starts with knowledge.
The foundation. The data you collect.
Exactly. Understanding the material world. But knowledge by itself doesn't give you capability,
For that, you need wisdom.
which is the sublimation of knowledge. It's the ability to discern, analyze, invent, create. Wisdom is the driving force of society's progress.
But here's the paradox they stress. You can have all the knowledge and wisdom in the world and still not be a good person.
Precisely. To solve your ultimate worries, to gain moral alignment, you need the final pursuit, spirituality.
The sublimation of wisdom.
The ability to communicate with the non-material world. That's where true morality and purpose come from.
So is there a shortcut? Do you have to go through years of academia to get there?
They suggest 2 direct paths. First, you can read the celestial book, meaning you understand divine revelation directly from nature, from the universe itself. The second path is being directly enlightened by celestial beings.
So an illiterate person could theoretically attain this.
They could. This focus on the celestial life requires a complete reevaluation of your goals. And the source has a very harsh critique of traditional ones.
It really does. It looks at traditional Chinese society and says the higher ground was becoming unofficial.
Or, failing that, getting great wealth or fame. And the critique is scathing. It calls these paths a dead end.
Why at that end?
Because to succeed in those purely material ways, you're often required to use deceit, flattery, exploitation. They mention the thick black theory.
Being thick-skinned and black-hearted.
Exactly. You have to compromise your true essence. You violate the non-material law of release.
So if all these traditional paths lead to misery, what's the alternative? What should you be aiming for today?
They lay out 8 alternative principles, all focused on alignment and freedom.
Let's walk through them.
Okay, first, study all the scriptures, compare them, integrate science, and discard anything that isn't reasonable.
Second, observe everything. The heavens, the earth. Spiritual meditation to get direct insights.
Third, and this is important, ensure your real-life experience is meaningful and enjoyable. Fourth, strive for the greatest possible freedom of mind.
Fifth, your life must have clear value for the greater life, for nature, for society.
Sixth, never blindly follow any path, not even this one. Seventh, if someone asks you to believe, demand clear, rational principles.
And finally, eighth,
Focus your efforts exclusively on matters of life, the non-material spiritual development. This positioning helps you unify your inner and outer self.
which is the final piece, right? The unity of appearance and essence.
It is. Your appearance, the material you always reflects, your essence, your soul. Even a lie is a truthful reflection of a distorted essence.
The goal is to return to simplicity, where they perfectly integrate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so to recap this whole ambitious framework, harmony requires adapting your frequency.
Being soft, not fragile.
Survival requires balance, a system of generation and restraint.
Even when that restraint is painful.
Transformation requires continuous destruction of old shells. And infinite energy comes from infinite release.
It's a complete system designed to move you from that worldly coordinate system to the celestial one.
It's an incredible framework. But let's end with one of the most provocative ideas they drop, something about geometry and physics.
Ah, yes. Parallel lines.
We're all taught in school, Euclidean geometry, that parallel lines never intersect.
But the source challenges this. They say, in a unified field theory of the universe, there are no truly parallel lines that don't eventually intersect or separate.
They use this beautiful analogy of 2 strangers on a train sitting in parallel seats, 2 parallel life paths.
Right. And then some sudden external force, a tragic accident, pulls one person into what they call a lateral space-time. Their line has violently diverged.
Separated, but then...
But then, maybe years later, the survivor has a powerful dream where they intersect, or maybe they both meet again in a shared afterlife. An ultimate intersection. The points of intersection and separation are always dictated by forces acting on the lines.
Forces we can't see. Consciousness, divine revelations, the non-material laws, they ensure our parallel paths are always changing trajectory. So what does that realization do to your current frame of reference? If the trajectory of your life, your parallel line, is constantly being influenced by forces you can't see, leading to intersections and separations you can't predict, what forces are changing your trajectory right now? Think about that until the next deep dive.